Sometimes the biggest problem with the problem is that you don't realize that the problem is the problem. You ever tried to solve a symptom? Hi, I'm J Loren Norris, and you're watching Leading Leaders Podcast. And today I want to talk to you about the challenge with just sometimes trying to get our mind right. My younger sister struggles with various things, weight being one of those, arthritis being another one of those, and also having battled cancer. She's on some rehab therapies that cause joint pain, which doesn't help with arthritis, and muscle fatigue, which doesn't help with struggling with the weight. And all of these things kind of create a perfect storm that makes it hard for her, sometimes literally just to stand up. No exaggeration, nearly practically impossible just to stand up. But if you ask her, she'll tell you, there are those days when my mind is clear and I can focus. And if I think about it long enough and hard enough in the right direction, I can overcome all of the pain that's in my body and force my body to stand up with the strength that it should have and the way that it should react, but doesn't always do it. See, getting our mind right sometimes is a matter of not focusing on what appears to be the problem, the symptom, but actually focusing on the problem. And many of us have a hard time identifying the actual problem. I want to jump back a couple of days to a video that I referenced. There was a young man in a yellow shirt. He was very loud. He was very boisterous. He was having a hard time with authority. In fact, it looked like he was provoking a fight with a grown-up. Now, the whole reason this all started was because this young man and some of his friends had been acting out in a violent and destructive way, messing with people's cars, setting off car alarms, breaking mirrors, that type of thing. And as a result, the adults intervened and said, guys, you really got to cut that out. The young man wasn't happy with you guys need to cut that out. He wanted to provoke it to the next level and ended up with himself being shoved to the ground, where he really over-exaggerated the impact of what had just happened and made it seem as though he had been abused. In fact, he screamed child abuse and several expletives for the next several minutes. I want to back up for a minute, though, and ask, is his behavior the problem, or is his behavior the symptom of a problem? And the truth is, probably a little bit of both, because his behavior creates another set of problems. More pain for other people, potentially injury, certainly financial injury. All of the behavior that he's exhibiting is a problem. And it's creating pain for other people. And it's going to create a problem for him. He may end up in jail if he stays on this path. So it is a problem, but it's also the symptom of a deeper problem. Probably something like an injury at home, a bad relationship, being taken advantage of or abused in another environment. He doesn't feel worthy, and so he creates pain in his own life to be able to feel something. He wants to pass on the pain that he's been subjected to. See, all of these are potential problems, and I don't know the answer to any of them. He's a kid on Facebook in a yellow shirt. That's all I know. But the signs and the symptoms are pretty clear. Here's the question, though. When you find those challenges in life, and maybe they're not that explicit in your life, they're not as obvious, but there's a sign that something is not going right, that the train's a little bit off track, how then do you correct it? Well, I've given you a very simple prescription below. You've got to identify what is the real problem. Next, you've got to be able to speak to that problem. I see you. I see not just the symptoms, I see the actual problem. Here's what it is. This is what it looks like. This is what caused it. Here's how. And then you can begin to change the way you think about that problem and reframe it to say, this is the problem I need to solve, not the symptom. The symptom will go away on its own as I solve the problem. But what is the real problem? What is the root of that problem? What is the origin of that problem? And then beginning to agree with others who've already done the homework to say, got it. I see the problem now. Then you've got to be able to say, I'm going to release the pain. I'm not going to hold on to the pain that caused the problem, that caused the original problem. And I'm not going to hold on to the pain that I've caused other people to the point that it destroys my own health, which is very easy to do. holding on to problems to destroy your own health. Yeah, happens all the time. You'd be amazed to look at the medical studies. And then finally, you've got to forget that somewhere in that problem, there was a release of pain of your own. Somewhere in that problem, in the actual problem, you found a way to feel better. You found a way to enjoy the symptoms of the problem. And that odd pleasure was the reason you stayed with it. Got to let that go too. That problem process, from identification to forgetting, is the heart and soul of the 5 battle strategies of a victorious warrior. And starting June 21st, we'll be teaching that for 10 weeks every Thursday night in Grand Prairie. If you'd like to know more about that, hit me up with a private message. I'd love you to be there and join us. It's only $6 a week for an individual or $4.50 a piece for a couple. $4.50 for the husband and the wife, or the girlfriend and the boyfriend, to go through a 10-week course on how to identify the real problem and get at solving it. I'm J Loren Norris on Leading Leaders Podcast on Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.